The trial for Nipsey Hussle's alleged killer, Eric Holder, was put on pause today because Eric Holder had actually been assaulted while in custody. Let's get into the details. My name is Jamahl Kersey. I'm a criminal defense attorney in San Diego, California. And in this video, we're talking about the assault on Eric Holder and that putting a pause on this trial. And so this trial is actually almost done. We're heading into the home stretch. The defense apparently has a couple of witnesses they plan to call, and then we're going into closing arguments. And I don't know about you, but I was really hoping to see the trial. I was looking forward to it being televised and being able to watch the witnesses, hear their testimony. But unfortunately, the judge presiding over the trial issued an order indicating that only the opening statements and the closing arguments would be televised, which would mean that the witness testimony would not. So he did not allow television cameras to be permitted during the witness testimony. And that's why you haven't seen any of that information on the internet or on TV. And so for today, again, the trial did not move forward because Eric Holder had been assaulted. And what's been reported is he was left with, quote unquote, more than a black eye. So at this point, we don't have the details in terms of the extent of his injuries. And I don't think that there's any reports that have been released on who actually committed this assault. But we know it was significant enough that the judge put the case on pause for today. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of violence, and I certainly don't wish pain on anybody, but it's hard to see that there's going to be much sympathy for Eric Holder given what he's alleged to have done. And quite frankly, it's really not a surprise that he would actually be attacked. And so when we're looking at him being assaulted, there's a couple of reasons that jump out. And first of all, let's just keep in mind that both Nipsey Hussle and Eric Holder were from the same set. They were both Rolling 60s Crips out of LA, and there's going to be hood politics and gang business that's at hand. Going into number one, Nipsey Hussle was just so beloved. And so when we think about who would actually want to do Eric Holder harm, it could have been anyone from another member of Rolling 60s to just a fan who really had love for Nipsey and felt like they were retaliating on his behalf. The second thing that jumps out to me is the snitch talk. This encounter between Nipsey Hussle and Eric Holder was pretty much a random encounter. During the conversation that ended up taking place between Nipsey and Eric Holder, Nipsey had alluded to there being either paperwork or rumors about Eric Holder possibly snitching and how he needed to handle that situation. And so if that's the word around town and people are believing in the hood that Eric Holder is a snitch, then, you know, that certainly would be grounds for him within that culture to be assaulted or even killed. That's going to be the second thing that at least jumped out to me in terms of why Eric Holder might have been assaulted in this situation. So getting back to the trial, the evidence in this case is very strong to say the least. And in fact, the defense right out the gate during their opening statement basically conceded that Eric Holder killed Nipsey Hussle. And so people went into this trial just really wanting to bury Holder under the jail. And with this defense admission, many people are wondering, well, why are we even going through the motions of this trial? Well, the reality is Eric Holder has a right to trial. That is a constitutional right that he has to trial. He has the right to hold the government to its burden of proving his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And so as much as we hate the facts of this case, as much as some people now despise Eric Holder, as much as we loved Nipsey Hussle, and as much as we wish Nipsey Hussle were still here, at the end of the day, we as Americans, and one step further as Black Americans especially, we basically have no business at all questioning whether or not he has the right to a fair trial. The other question that I've been seeing coming up is, why is this even going to trial, right? So if the evidence is so strong, you know, just outside of his right to go to trial, why is this, you know, why hasn't there been a deal struck, or why hasn't he pled guilty? Eric Holder is facing a first-degree murder charge, so for having killed Nipsey Hussle, and then he's facing 2 attempted murder charges for having, you know, bullets having struck Kerry Lathan and Sherman Villanueva, and then there's also 2 assault with a deadly weapon charges. This is as serious as it gets in terms of cases. When you're talking about a loss of life, murder charges offers and negotiations, they go a little differently from your run-of-the-mill theft, DUI, or even a burglary case. And so usually when somebody is charged with a crime, shortly after the arraignment and the person enters their not guilty plea, then the DA is going to turn over their evidence. The defense attorney is going to review that information with their client, and then eventually there will be a next status conference or readiness conference where the DA and the defense discuss the strengths and weaknesses of their respective cases, and the DA's office will usually make an offer. So they'll make an offer that the defense can accept and the client can plead guilty, or they can, make a counter offer, or, they'll proceed to the next step in the case. But in these type of cases, a lot of times the DA will not make an offer. So the DA will not make an offer to the defense, and the defense actually has to make the first move and make an offer to the DA. And I would say in the facts in this case, the defense would have had to come with an offer of, probably in the neighborhood of 40 years at least. Anything less than that, the DA is just not going to accept it. The stronger the DA's case is, the less likely they're going to be inclined to be flexible in negotiations. And then that coupled with the seriousness of the case, again, we have someone who lost their life. So Nipsey Hussle lost his life, and then 2 other people were hit by bullets in this case. It's as serious as it gets. And so ultimately the DA, they're not going to entertain anything less than multiple decades within prison. The reason why cases end up going to trial is because the defense and the prosecution were not able to come to an agreement. That's when a case just has to be put in front of a jury, and then ultimately once the jury finds the person guilty, then we'll go to sentencing, and then the judge will issue the sentence. So for people wondering why there hasn't been a deal struck or why this case is going to trial, that's the practical reason. When you're talking about plea deals with numbers that high, it's just really hard to reach an agreement. All right, guys, so do me a favor and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about Eric Holder having been assaulted. What's your thoughts on him going to trial in this situation? Did you learn something? Please let me know. And if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video when it drops. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace.